Charles here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out New Cat Body by Jeremy Smokkin.
Good morning. It's Lions Talk with Smokin Von D. That's Smokin Jeremy B and Von Doom. Yeah, I'm just waking up. Don't mind me. Having one of those brain fart type of days. It happens. How's everybody doing today?
I think we're doing good, buddy.
We got Fred Peterson with his usual. What a great day to be a Lions fan. And we got Ricky Sakat, our first true supporter of our show. Villain Squad, rise up. Good afternoon, men.
Good afternoon. It's still 11 o'clock, buddy.
Damn you, Leonard. You put a ban on me for all the shit talk? No, no, no. You're not on ban, Fred. I don't think he banned you.
Who?
Fred Peterson, you didn't put a ban on him, did you?
No.
Okay, good. I'm just enjoying my morning coffee. We got the Single Dads Club coming in. No, read the comment. Oh, okay. Damn you, Leonard. You put a hex on me for all the shit talking. I have the privilege to watch from my couch since I have explosive diarrhea today. No joke.
That's what you get.
I made the joke that that's why you were missing the show in the beginning.
Yeah.
X is a curse. It's still morning in Carlton. Yes, it is. I was just reading the sign, the chats as they go. Good morning, Paul Jones. FTP from Single Dad's Club. He comes in with the right words because guess what? It is 100% a. It is Friday, right?
Yes, it is. It's FTP Friday, buddy.
It is FTP Friday. Fuck the Packers Friday. Steve might not want to come in the chat today. I don't know.
Also,
Project
sorry, any
diarrhea.
August. I'm on the road today, folks. On the road.
Yes, he is on the road. So, real quick, Leonard, go ahead and go over the cap situation for the Giants because I figured I'd let you start it off because then we're going to get into Lions news.
Okay, real quick. The Giants are in cap hell, worse than pretty much most teams in the league right now. They have 11.9 million in functional cap after rookie signings and whatnot. Barkley, we still need to sign him. We can't move Daniel Jones till next year, otherwise it's a $68 million hit in dead cap. But we can clear $5 million if we cut right guard Mark Lewinsky and extend Bobby Okereke or restructure him another year. That should clear up close to $11 million in cap. If they keep Darius Slayton in the plans, you extend him another year, and we can lower his 7.9 hit. And there is the cap purgatory of the New York Giants.
Oh, Ricky Sakat, you're absolutely right. That's some good information, and I hope the best for you, but it's actually the real reason why the Giants are probably not making a lot of free agent moves. They're probably cutting cap and adding a bunch of prove it players and having another mediocre to down year. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree to that because they need to address the quarterback, the wide receiver, running back, cornerback, and offensive line.
Right.
Unfortunately, that Daniel Jones signing made it so they really couldn't do anything last year.
And what did I tell you when it happened? Before you even, when you first told me, oh my God, we just paid Daniel Jones $40 million a year. I said, well, you're fucked, didn't I?
You did because they paid him that $40 million a year on top of making Dexter Lawrence the highest paid defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald, and making Andrew Thomas the highest paid offensive lineman in football, all in the same year.
Yeah, and you basically have two of them you can't move on from until next year, and that would be Dexter Lawrence and Daniel Jones, right?
You don't move on from Dexter Lawrence. He's still a top 3
Just
defensive
saying,
tackle in the league.
if you had to, next
If
year
you,
is the first year you could.
yes, you could. Daniel Jones, we can move on from after next year because then it'll only be a $22 million dead cap. So just take that to the dome and say, okay, have a nice life.
And Ricky Saccott brings up the stuff about Jalen Carter. I was going to save that, but thank you for bringing it up because I want to address all the Lions fans that said that Brad Holmes was a fucking moron for not drafting this guy. He's in a lot of trouble over this. And Fred Peterson gives you props on getting the Pepsi job, which that's why he's on the road. He just had to go test for drugs this morning.
Yeah, I studied hard.
Did you do them all last night? That way it shows up good in in your test.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Anytime I hear somebody studied for a urine test, um, and that's why Brad Holmes did what he did in the end of season presser when he called out Dave Burkett, Tim Twentyman, and Carlos Monterrey. He sat there, he goes, "I'm glad we just don't base our draft on talent. I'm glad we go for culture fit and who fits this team because it makes it better for our team when everybody fits."
Dude, he's not wrong.
Yeah,
Like, Jalen Carter was the talent there, but after what I read about what he said and did with Feliciano's kids all over Instagram, is jacked the fuck up.
yeah, Giants are in a slump year just like Saints. Not really. Saints have no cap whatsoever.
The
They have to
Saints
they have
are
to
on the book for negative 80 right now.
yeah, they're at negative 80 million. You know who's closer to them? The Packers.
Uh-huh.
Too many high paid players are a terrible team that just wants to sell jerseys and not chase after rings. Absolutely, Fred. It's why I've said what I said. I've never said anything bad about Jared Goff. I just said giving him that bag over 45 million, it will hamper the team because they always backload a contract. So every year it's more against the cap hit. And so, yeah, it'll be great for 1 year, and then the next year, oh shit. And then the next year, oh shit, some more. And then the last year, it's oh my God, what are we gonna do? That's where I'm at with that. I am fine with letting Goff ride out his contract and go to a contract to another team. I'm fine with that because that gives you another another year for our rookie from last year to develop and learn.
Trade Goff's ass, get some first round picks, sign Kirk Cousins for like $30 million in free agency as your backup. There you go.
No, I don't want Kirk Cousins either.
Man, I don't know how much you hate Kirk Cousins, but he's a good quarterback. He really is.
And Fred Peterson says the perfect thing. Jesus, I'm so happy we didn't pick him up. And he also replies to Single Dad's Club that says, I didn't care for Jalen Carter. He says, I agree, SDC. Who leaves your friend to die in the streets? Terrible character. Well, unfortunately, Trash Patrasha has been fired. He is not the DC or the assistant DC, the Eagles anymore. Vic Fangio takes over that job. Thank God for them. Because if they were stuck with Matt Patrasha another year, they might go 3-13-1.
which would be a travesty with the amount of talent on that team.
Right. By accident, they should never win less than 10 games.
Unfortunately.
And I'm just saying by the talent on that team, it has nothing to do with the coaching, has nothing to do with that. They are that skilled at every position.
Oh yeah, the coaching's terrible though.
Yeah. I mean, it might be better now that they got Vic Fangio.
The problem I don't really see it was their defense. It was their offense was super stale after what was his name left.
Yes, Steve Steichen, the one that became the coach of the Colts.
Yes, after he left, their offense
John Steichen, whatever his name is. I just saw. I was trying to get out of Instagram because I was in the messenger before the show, and when I backed out, there was a reel, and it was this girl complaining about the tall guys that work out at the gym. She goes, "I picked up a guy at the gym. How can you be 6'6" and 320 pounds and have a 3-inch stick?" I said, "Steroids."
Not wrong. Hey, you got all the gains in other places. You got to give it up somewhere.
And Ricky Saccott, why would they hire Bill Belichick when they just had his disciple ruin their defense? And he goes, Matt Patricia is crying at his daddy Belichick's feet, asking him to take him wherever he goes because he can't do it on his own. You're absolutely right. Newsflash. If Julian Aquara is in Philly, guess who else will probably follow in the offseason? Romeo Aquara.
Good.
That's what I have to say about that.
Have you been hearing the rumors about the Lions potentially being interested in trading for Hassan Reddick?
No, because I seen it from a few clickbaitsports.com places. Mostly the one that wrote it first and everybody's copied it to their page was the manager of the Chick-fil-A that has his own Lions page. That guy has been wrong so many times I stopped reading his article.
I don't know, man. I can see that one happening. That'd be fucking a huge pickup, though.
And Ricky Saccott, you're probably right. It was the perfect marriage between QB and coach. Was Bill Belichick and Brady. I saw a big article the other day saying if Brady never went to New England, Belichick would have been fired 10 years ago.
Potentially.
Man, but the good news is the rumored extension coming out per Tom Pelissero, which is a trusted source in the NFL, backed up by Ian Rappaport. Amon-Ra St. Brown is in extension talks right now. Funny, you don't hear about Jared Goff. But Amon-Ra,
About to get that bag.
25 a year for 4 to 5 years, and he's worth every bit.
I agree.
Aaron Gary, you are just an idiot behind the mic. Yeah, don't pick up. There's a reason why there is no news of his contract extension, and why when Brad Holmes was asked at the end of season presser, he said, "Next question, please." There's a reason for that. You can say I'm a moron. I'm giving my opinion.
Who would be in an
I
asshole?
actually played football in my life, Darren Gary. So don't tell me I never played. Granted, I never played professional football, and never claimed I did. And Ricky Saccott says also, "Congrats on the new job, Dan. Free Pepsi for life, right?"
I kind of hope so. That'd be badass.
You can say that that's what you expect out of them, but I'm just saying the numbers for keeping a team together with an overpaid And yes, any game manager that makes that kind of money is an overpaid quarterback. Ooh, Ricky Sakat. He's coming back with the fire. I'm gonna put it up. This is exactly what the guy told me. Dude, you're a moron. Sure glad you're just an idiot behind a mic. Yeah, don't pay Goff, let him walk. There's no free. He doesn't walk this year. That's what you're not missing. He's under contract. I didn't say let him walk this year. I said let him walk next year when his contract is over. Because personally, I'm not giving any QB that didn't get this team to the goddamn Super Bowl that kind of money. Oh, Brent, what did you miss? I just got called an idiot because I said I'd let Goff play out his contract instead of paying him. And Ricky Sakat fires back. If you don't like the opinions of these guys, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
Or
And
do that kind of shit.
I don't care. I really don't. Because you know what? If people can't handle a factual statement based on an opinion based on a factual statement, I don't care. I really don't care anymore. I was listening to another podcast yesterday morning. A listener brought up a very good point. This is the Holmes' first year of being able to get who he wants and not have to worry about the dead cap space. Yep, you're right. He's just got to worry about the actual cap space.
Exactly.
And we had the usual back and forth between Fred and Brent saying good morning and everything to each other. And Single Dad Club, we need a game manager plus a game extender. Yes, I agree. And Ricky Scott says, my father always used to tell me, don't worry about the opinions of sheep.
Facts.
Lions don't, they eat sheep. Look at the Rams. Oh, did I go there?
And that guy's sitting there freaking giving you shit about your opinion. You want my opinion on Goff? I'll give it to you. He's no better than Alex Smith or Chad fucking Pennington. He
Uh-oh, there goes
works
his
for him
internet.
that was built around him.
Right. I mean,
Stupid mountains.
and Brent comes back with another one for you. I love it. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And you know what? They usually stink. Don't forget to smash that like button, people. We are going live into the Lions Villain Squad, into Motor City Kneecap Biters, uh, into my YouTube page, Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, into Football Talk 365, and also on my Twitter page. Got 20 people watching and 2 likes. So evidently either I've offended people or they just don't understand that hitting the like button's free. Hey, somebody just left. Hopefully it was Darren Gary. People can say what I want. But there's a reason why you have not heard one iota of news from the major newsbreakers that Goff is getting an extension. You've heard rumors extensions. Yes, your like went through, and I appreciate it, Ricky. Um, driving a truck, hard to comment. I appreciate it though. I know what you got to do. And predictive text, you when you're using the voice to voice to text thing,
I love and hate that stuff so much.
right? Which is it? Tell me. When the team fell apart because they couldn't afford to keep it because they overpaid Goff with the Rams, how well did he do in 2019 and 2020? Because they went from having the third best O line and a top 5 running game and they couldn't afford to pay anybody. Gurley was busted. C.J. Anderson they let walk. They went through a bad year running game wise. They got rid of Cooks. They got rid of Reynolds and had no speed on the roster. And they fell apart. Goff didn't play that bad. He still had almost a he still almost had a 2-to-1 interception ratio during that time, except 1 year, and he still had a QB passer rating over 87. And I'm not saying Goff is bad. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's one of the better game managers out there, but he doesn't deserve Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and the rest of them's money because he doesn't have the same abilities.
Goff is not going to go out there and single-handedly win you the game. He's not going to say, okay, this team's doing shit. Let me run for 75 yards today and change the pace up.
Yeah, Single Dad's Club, if you enable the Google keyboard and download speech to text by Google, it puts a mic in the bottom end of the keyboard and allows you to do speech to text. And they're going to use Hendon Hooker cheap. This is Goff's last year, in my opinion, and that's where I was going. Is that Goff will probably be here this year because we don't know if Hendon Hooker's developed, and I agree with that for the most part. And people can put the sad emojis on my opinion, but my opinion is based off of everything. Fred Peterson, I had a class Tuesday for the new Endurant transmission. I hate automatics, but this thing is very nice and a smooth and easy to work on. My company will be seeing them more with warranty is over. And Curtis Crawford comes in and says Lions.
Tigers and Bears, oh
If
my.
he gets, yeah, there it is. If he gets to and wins the big game, is he then worth the big money? Yes, that is absolutely true. And I've said that. If he gets to the big game, yes. If he wins it, even more. I don't care. Because guess what? No game manager money quarterback on a big contract has ever won the Super Bowl. So keep him where he's at so he stays hungry. That's what I'm saying. Just because the Giants, paid too much for Daniel Jones doesn't mean we should pay him that much. But unfortunately, that's the floor for a mediocre quarterback right now. And yes, Trevor Lawrence is just as mediocre as Danielle Jones or Danny Pesos, as I like to call him, because he isn't worth a dime.
Good. Now, you'll admit with this, you'll go with me on this. You'll say Kirk Cousins is better than both of them, right?
Yep.
His range right now, his market value is between 32 and 35 a year.
Right. And I think Goff is on par with Cousins. They're the same quarterback, different teams.
I think Cousins is more of a pure passer.
But he chokes in prime time and in playoffs, period. He's had one playoff win, and technically the tying touchdown was thrown. And Single Dad's Club agrees. If Goff wins a Super Bowl, then Hendon Hooker is trade bait. Absolutely. And anybody who thinks we're trading Hendon Hooker in the second year of his contract when it's going to cost you $5 million more than he makes, you're a special kind of ignorant.
I just say trade Goff because I don't freaking like him as a person.
I know, yeah, but he's actually been a great guy.
I low-key would punch him in the throat if I saw him in person.
Is the Jaguars Josh Allen a free agent? No, he's more than like rumor is out of Jaguars camp he's going to be franchise tag. Brian Burns is going to be franchise tag for the Panthers to lock him up another year. Ladarius Sneed is going to be franchise tagged as the rumor with the Chiefs. T. Higgins is being tagged by the Bengals, according to the rumor. So if that's true, then Chidobe Awuzie, because they don't have the cap room to pay a top flight corner, which is anything above 16 million, will be a free agent. Goff's a good guy, just a very stiff personality. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
Is Greg Newsome from the Browns a free agent this year? Or is he going into the 5th year? I can't recall.
What's that?
I said, is Greg Newsome, the corner from the Browns, a free agent this year, or is he going into his 5th year?
He's going into his 5th year, and they picked up his option last year to keep him cheap.
Okay.
So he's not going to be a free agent. So Chidobe Awuzie would be my number one target out of the free agents, in my opinion, because that would give you a true guy that played the CB1 to play CB1. Let Cam Sutton play CB2, where he was actually good with Pittsburgh in a mostly zone defense.
I say draft your QB1. I mean your CB1.
And still draft one in the first round. That's what I'm getting at. To develop, because it's very rare. Granted, there's been 2 in the last 2 years that look great right out of the box for the entire season, and I mean great, because for me to make the move in the first round for a CB1, it would have to be someone who's absolutely a stud, and the closest guy is Kool-Aid, and he's nowhere near as good as what Sauce and Evan Witherspoon was coming out. I think we just lost Leonard because it got quiet. Oh, there he is. He's back.
So I'm literally between 2 mountains right now. In the house. The truck would get out of my goddamn way.
Don't go around them. Stay in the slow lane. Stay behind them. Take longer.
I see how it is. Wow.
You'll stay connected to the internet then.
Where I'm at here? Not when I go around that one corner up here.
Oh boy.
They're like, when I say I live between 2 mountains, I live between 2 mountains.
Right. Fred Peterson, I completely agree with you. Sign one and let a CB1 develop out of the draft is what I'm saying. And I think defensive tackle is a little bit deeper of a draft than defensive end in this draft. I think all the top ones, which there's 3 that are good to great in the first round. And then there's about 5 or 6 good to great defensive tackles. And there's a drop off after that. There's a bunch of guys that have had injury issues, talks of mental issues, as in the locker room type of stuff, or just guys that didn't ever live up to their potential behind all those guys. And those are fine for like a late day 2, early day to midday 3 picks, but I'm not picking them at the top. There's some really good interior O linemen. The tackle talent this draft is just mediocre to good. Would you agree with that? You got like 2 great ones, and then it just falls off after that, Leonard?
Yeah, there's probably 2 great tackles. Falls off a little bit. There's a couple guys top of the second round might be interesting that dealt with some injuries, but have a ton of talent and potential. This is a good draft for your guards and centers, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's way deeper in the interior O line and interior D line. Well, with the emergence of Aleem McNeil with basically a DT2 that was just a body because we didn't use bugs enough. I don't think we need a crazy DT. I don't want no Jalen Carter types. I like both of the guys coming out of Texas because they kind of fit that mold, but Byron Murphy has been a DT1, and I don't know if he'll accept being the DT2. There's a mental thing there, like what happened with Amani Oruwariye. You look at when he was playing like a CB1 the 2 years while Jeff Okuda was hurt, and then Jeff Okuda has a nice offseason and a nice preseason, so they move him to be the CB1, and it ruined Amani Orumore's confidence and playing ability. Mentally, he checked out. Oh, I'm gonna have to mute you for a minute, Leonard. You're sounding broken robot. Oh, he's back. Yes. Sweat Martin and McNeil and do a five-man front. I would love a 5-2-4 defense. You can say what you want. I think that would be amazing. Yep. That's where the internet in Pennsylvania, when he's heading through the mountains around that curve, becomes Walmart Wi-Fi and drops out quicker than OnlyFans for $20. And Facebook user says, "What's up, boys? Appreciate it." Leonard will be back once he has a good signal again. Brad doesn't seem to get wrapped up in those veteran free agent big contracts that last forever against the cap. Unlike the Vikings, who are now in cap hell, still paying dudes from 5 years ago. You're absolutely right. But he also said he was waiting for his first year to not have his cap room hampered by dead cap to take a swing. And I think that's the swing. Man, reality.
I told you. I'm almost home, though, buddy. Almost home.
All right. Why don't you pop out till you get home, then pop back in because you're still cutting in and out.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
And no one would run on us. But you know what? For the most part, no one ran on us now. You know what? I don't blame people being completely shit faced at the Chiefs parade. Matt Stafford did the same thing and laughed at a news reporter that fell off a stage and did nothing. But you know, let's trash everybody because they won it. Our guys would do the same thing. I'm sorry. Can you imagine how drunk our guys would be at the parade down Woodward Avenue? Think about it. They won two in a row. Let them be what they are. And yes, you can call him a POS, but you know what? He's dating a billionaire who's flat as a board. Looks like a 2x4, but warped. He got mad about being benched in the first half and yelled at Andy Reid. I bet you Dan Campbell would have fucking pile drived his ass right there. He'd do that rock thing or hit him with the lion's elbow. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The way he treated Andy Reid. And Andy Reid, if that had been Philadelphia Eagles Andy Reid, he'd have belly bopped him onto the bench and said, "Shut up, bitch." But now that he's an older, more reserved Andy Reid, he didn't. That whole Super Bowl thing was weird. My heart still go out to the family of the person who died, the 22 injured, with 8 of them being children. My heart goes out to all those families because there's no reason for that to happen, and it was an incident totally separate from the Super Bowl parade. It wasn't an attack like they made it out to be to begin with. It was an altercation, guns broke out, and people got hurt. It's still a travesty. But the Amon Ra news is great. I'm glad that came from a valid source and not some clickbaitsports.com. Other than that, there's not a lot of news. Our assistant to the assistant GM Lance Newmark was hired by the Commanders. And how about Anthony Lynn as their run game coordinator and assistant OC? I know. The only thing that was good is that because he cleared waivers and hit, and we didn't bring him back to the practice squad, Julian Aquara was one of the unrestricted free agents that was left in limbo and in the NFL free agent pool, is why the Eagles was able to re-sign him, because technically it's the end of the Super Bowl week. So it's technically still in season until yesterday. So they signed him yesterday before 4 p.m. That's why they made the move. And it was very intelligent for us, because now we don't have to worry about him being a camp cockroach like Tom Kennedy or any one of the other ones that we have on there that just seem to keep surviving each year collecting a bench paycheck. Saw the stupidest post on NFC North, the huddle by our guy. I think it's John Dorn Jr., also known as Paul Merkel, saying that I hope they trade Justin Fields for 2 firsts. I said the only way they're giving 2 firsts is if you give up all your cap room and DJ Moore first also. Ooh, that sounds better. But
Doesn't it?
wait, there's a kid on edge. No one's not Chop Robinson. He has better size. Oh, the guy on the other side, it's because he didn't live up to his potential of a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and he never ever did anything. Henry Gray, good morning, everyone. And Brent reiterates that back to you, Henry. That being said, Von Doom, I was talking about the way the hirings the Commanders did over the last couple of days, and the fact that Philly signed a Julian Aquara, and the reason why they did it on Thursday morning, because Super Bowl week doesn't end until 4 p.m. on Thursday, because it's still part of the Super Bowl week. That's what starts the next active week is 4 p.m. on Thursday. So they signed him in the morning on Thursday because it made sense, because he was actually an NFL free agent, and any free agents that were already in the free agent pool prior to team cuts was available,
Makes sense. I still don't know what the hell they needed him for, though.
because they're getting rid of Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, but they have Nolan Smith.
Who's done nothing,
He's got like no snaps.
right? Because he was injured all year. So they just hired a guy that's just as injured as him, but through an NFL career. Great job. Good job, Eagles.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate them getting trashed, but still, it needs to make sense.
I had a great day yesterday, guys. Not gonna lie. At Von Doom, I sent him a couple screenshots.
Swear to God, this guy was having oral relations with a leprechaun somewhere recently. It's the only thing that explains it.
I put 20 bucks on BetMGM yesterday morning, and in less than 2 hours turned it into 500 that I cashed out. Yes, I do like the Canadian sack leader for depth. I love the fact it's a future signing, so only a third of that million and a half he's getting is going to hit the cap this year, which means he probably will not actually hit the top 51 for cap room. It's a brilliant move. What hits the first year is his signing bonus plus his salary that's been split over a 3-year time with the futures contract. It's a brilliant cap move. Matt Dunstall, our CFO, our chief financial officer, was sought after by 5 teams this offseason. It was 4 teams last year. And when we first hired Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, he was sought after by 16 teams. So we got a guy that's wanted because of the great job he does with the contracts. on making it so that when they're backloaded, but not so backloaded it kills you. I love it. So
Borrow him.
what I'm going to say about Matthew Betts is his ceiling is Cameron Wake 2.0. The worst case scenario, he's regulated back to the CFL next year.
Wasn't he a Bears draft pick?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Bears with Matt Nagy and the previous GM in 2019. They cut him after the 2020 season, and he went to the CFL, and he was a depth piece his first year, learning their system. Because let's face it, that field is 55 yards wide, not 50, and 110 yards long between the end zone. And they also have to line up a yard off the ball, which means the reason why a lot of those offensive teams do so good is their offensive line is able to get set upright before guys get to them with that extra half a yard between the football and the defensive line. So this guy was able to get 18 and a half sacks and starting a yard back because he has, and I'm going to read it right from his scouting, or tell you what I read right from his scouting profile. He has an almost flawless spin move, which is accentuated by his excellent hand pop. He has a great bend and a great get off. Who does that sound like? Draft profile wise, somebody that was drafted by the Lions last year in 2022.
That is not Hutch's profile.
No, not Hutchins.
Houston.
Yes, yes.
I was gonna say Hutchins Benz. You're crazy.
No, no, no. I said, whose draft profile did it match? I didn't give any names. It was the exact same draft profile that James Houston had coming out of Jackson State. And he came out of a Division III school. Jackson State moved up to Division II, now Division One. Won their division, but wasn't bowl eligible. Bullshit.
Madison.
Speed and quickness are all great things to have. Bet has it all. Hopefully, if anything, he can make the 53 man. I with losing most. Let's talk about who we could lose. Charles Harris is an unrestricted free agent. Romeo Aquara. There's a couple others out there just from the defensive end room. He has a good shot to make the 53, depending on where we go in the draft and free agency.
Absolutely.
And as a depth piece and somebody that can play he plays both sides of the ball, one side on DE, which is the right end, and he also plays left outside linebacker. So, with that being said, that means you can move him on both sides of the line at any time, and I think that's a great capability to have, that you're better at the strong side linebacker than you were at the Sam than you were at the will.
I personally like guys that are able to freaking play different positions across the lines and stand up and get down in the stance and everything like that, because you can build different matchups that are going to be more prominent from each game.
Right, and actually look at Hutch's sacks that he had towards the end of the season. Almost every time he was more upright than in the 3-point stance.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he can use the spin move properly and all the spin and the swim properly. He doesn't have as much of a bull rush as everybody thinks. Go watch when he tries to bull rush. He gets manhandled.
Because he's not strong enough.
It's weight. As he keeps gaining weight, his bull rush gets a little better. First year he came out, he weighed 265. This year he put on another 11 pounds. He weighed 276. His bull rush got better because he's bulking up. He's not getting fat. He's actually getting bigger, which is a great thing to have. A guy that's young, under 25, getting bigger. You want him to hit his stride probably after this year. You want him to be at whatever weight he is and stay there. I'm hoping he comes in about 280, 282. Then he can play the line or linebacker still conveniently.
Oh, like when he was drafted, remember talking about him? We said that he was an undersized defensive end.
Yeah. He's a better outside linebacker than he is a defensive end, and I said that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Betts isn't from Brad Holmes as far as pass rush. When is free agent? Oh, it hasn't started yet. It doesn't even start till March 13th. We have let's see, what, less than 2 weeks until the combine?
Mm-hmm.
This is leap year, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was
Bullshit.
making sure because I was to say 13 days, and I just had to I remembered. Yeah, the combine's on the 29th through the 4th, correct?
I'd have
5
to.
days. I think it's 5 days. Wow. This morning, NFL Good Morning Football. Most likely to win the Super Bowl 359 days out. The Lions are in the top 5 of all 4 guys on Good Morning Football. Imagine that. Only one guy has a certain team from the NFC North other than the Lions on his list, and they're still behind the Lions. Who is it?
Packers.
Fuck the Packer Friday. You got it.
Nate Burleson. Good Morning Football, right?
Yes, Bryce Ward. Matthew Betts was a 2019 7th round draft pick. He was one of their last picks in that draft. He was cut when they signed Eberflus in polls. Oof. That's all I got to say. Oof. Didn't they draft Fields in 2021? Right?
Yeah.
Same year we drafted Sewell.
You know what, though? Cutting Getz and letting him go out to Canada was probably one of the best things for him because they take time to try to develop players out there.
Right, in British Columbia, the British Columbia Lions in Alberta. BC Lions. So he went from the Lions to the Lions. There's a connection. Just kidding. You know what it is? Brad Holmes doesn't just look at college. He doesn't look at just the NFL. He looks at the UFL since they combined. You can't say it's XFL and USFL anymore. It's the UFL, the United Football League, with 32 teams, just like the NFL. Yes, and you guys dropped Eddie Jackson yesterday too. And I said, Bears don't know how to develop players anyway. Some kids take a while. No, CFL's a little more patient. That's all. Say what you want. The CFL has more patience because it's not as quick of a turnaround league like the NFL is. I mean, look at the Elkton Elks. They have lost 36 straight home games. They didn't win one till the end of last year in the CFL, which is crazy. They finished above 500 because they went on the road. That makes no damn sense. That's a CFL record. It would be an NFL record by a long shot, wouldn't it? I think the longest losing streak was 19 at home, held by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day
Ew.
when they first started, when they had their 0 for year in 76. Isn't that right?
I believe so.
And Bryce Ward comes in. He goes, you know what would piss me off if the Lions pick up my boy Jalen Johnson? Well, he's at the position that they need, or he's at a position of need. But you got to look at his numbers as a true CB1. When he was playing at the slot and at the 2, he was doing better. And then after the injuries, he did get burnt a few times, but he just still played well at the CB1. We already have a CB2 on the team, and I don't know if he's the first choice for the Lions.
And he wants that bag. He wants to reset the market.
Right. He wants to reset the market in Grandpa Bay. Yeah, I understand that because he started out the season on the other side and was having a fantastic year until your CB1 got hurt, Bryce. I'm looking at the whole thing, not just one snippet, not just the end total. You got to look at everything across the board. For me, I want a guy that played CB1 2 to 3 years in a row if I'm signing a vet, not just 1 year or even part of 1 year. That's where I'm at. That's why I kind of put as a target Chidobe Awuzie above him and Adoree Jackson above him. But Adoree Jackson, the report came out that he's more than likely re-signing with the Bears now, which tells me his problem was with Wink Martindale.
I don't think we have the money to. He wants to stay. He wanted to stay the whole time. It was a cap, like a business move, like Bradbury. We didn't want to get rid of Bradbury. We had.
I understand what it will be, but I think they'll because of it. Isn't this the last year of his rookie contract?
Who?
Adoree.
No, dude. We signed him as a free agent out of Tennessee.
Oh, okay. It would have been his last year on his rookie contract because they let him go, right?
No.
And Bryce,
No.
I think that's a smart thing to do with you guys letting Eddie Jackson go, which you guys are going to try to get younger at safety. Eddie Jackson is a fine safety, don't get me wrong, but he's 31, going to be 32, and ageism is a thing in the NFL. You hit that 30 thing, and it's like your clock starts ticking as to when you'll get your last day in the NFL at any position other than quarterback or kicker.
What the Bears should do for their free safety position? Kid from the Giants, Xavier McKinney, out of Alabama, about to be a free agent. We can't sign him. We don't have the cap for it. He was the 4th-rated safety in all of football and didn't miss a single snap last year. And the guy's a fucking ball hawk. That's who you go after.
Good job. But this is a good idea too. Draft Tyler Nubin, but sign the other guy and have the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Eddie Jackson is let go, and it's because they're trying to get younger at the position. And it makes sense because ageism, like I said, is a thing in the NFL. Once you hit that 30 mark and your contract ends, it's really the big question mark unless you're a quarterback or a kicker in the NFL if you get another contract. And you better be a top flight kicker because not all of them get a contract at 30 years old plus.
Mm-hmm. On a side note, with Eddie Jackson, saving out like $12 million didn't hurt.
No, an extra 12 million it actually puts you above the Lions in salary cap again. Because believe it or not, because of the Montez Sweat signing and some dead cap hits you guys actually had less cap space than everybody thought. And they had a bunch of voidable years come off their cap room, Von Doom. They weren't as high up on cap as you thought. They had like 42 million. Now that extra 12 million is going to push them up to 54. Now they'll have the most room. They'll have the most room in the NFC North. And you're absolutely right. Eddie Jackson was nice. Injuries made him slow. I think he would have would be nice for a Super Bowl contender. I'd like to see him win a ring, man. And that's just it. When Matt Stafford left and went to that team that was built for Goff, I think we already have a QB that's going to sit behind Goff this year. We have Hendon Hooker, that's a QB that would have been a first round talent if he didn't hurt his knee. And if you tell me anything other than that, then you don't know college football. Oh, we'll draft a late rounder or pick up a UDFA. Because Dave, oh yeah, that's the other guy that got hired by the Commanders. Guess who is the assistant quarterback coach for the Commanders now? Practice squad cockroach and team leaker of information David Blau is now with the Commanders as assistant QB coach. Hallelujah. We'll pick somebody up, Bryce Ward. As a matter of fact, we did a UDFA last year, Aiden Martinez, but That guy was a joke. He was a guy that was on par with Tim Boyle. Almost more interceptions than touchdowns. If not, he did. Yep, and Fred Peterson Hooker most likely would have won the Heisman if he not effed up his knee. Think about it. He didn't play the last 5 games of the season because he got hurt week 8, and he was 4th in touchdowns for the season.
I still think Stroud took it.
No, he is no longer a player. He was signed as an assistant coach. Nah, Hooker was nice in college. I just don't see him being that guy in the NFL considering the adversity. I He started out playing for a bum ass team. What was it? Was it West Virginia or Virginia Tech? Wasn't it Virginia Tech?
I think it was West Virginia.
West Virginia. Either way, it was a bum ass team at the time. They had no weapons. They had no running game, and they've had an O line that was so porous that he mostly ran for his life. Paul Jones, the way it's looking, we may get Caleb Williams in the 5th round. God, I hope not.
In the 5th?
I don't want Caleb Williams anywhere near this team with his diva attitude.
Is it really a deal not wanting
Yeah.
to be a historically shitty team with a bad spot?
It's everything that he wants as a player. Did you hear what he said he wants from a team? He wants 10% stock options?
Huh. Okay, here's my problem with that. There's only one team that can get stock options, and that would be the Packers.
Right. I think Bo Nix is going in the 1st round. I think Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, and Hooker was Virginia Tech.
Was it Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Whatever. Still in shit town, shit city, state.
I don't think you're drafting a quarterback. You guys are sticking with Justin. That's what I'm hearing. I think you guys are going to entertain trading back. And I think the perfect team for you to trade back with and let them draft that bust, Caleb Williams, is the New England Patriots. Trade back to 3. You let them take Caleb Williams. You let the Commanders take Drake May. And you guys grab Marvin Harrison. Even though I don't want him on your team, it makes sense to do that. To give a actual weapon opposite DJ Moore and see if Justin Fields is the guy.
Or you draft Joe Alt at 3. Let the fucking Patriots take Caleb Williams, get that extra pick next year that you're going to get whatever for it. Then with your pick 9, grab him freaking Malik Neighbors or Rome Mizzuna, whoever falls.
That's my dream scenario. LOL, I hope so. The only problem is what? Justin Fields' completion percentage for his entire career has been 60.3%. So that means he's 4% below an average QB in the NFL because 65% is considered a benchmark. Anything above 65 is considered good to great, correct?
Yeah, but in running, how much above freaking most of the league?
I don't care about the running part because guess what? A lot of running quarterbacks don't win. When you said West Virginia, I was like, that didn't sound right. Either way, he played very well there too. I watched a documentary on him last season. He's a very humble game, but aggressive on the turf. Yeah, it was an unfortunate incident. It was a non-contact injury when he was running out of bounds that caused his ACL tear for Hendon Hooker. Fields isn't the problem in Chicago. They don't develop players. They develop certain ones. I mean, Cole Kmet looks good, but that's because Justin Fields is a screen pass king. And the fact that Brad Holmes has been scouting Hendon Hooker since he was in the 8th grade. I mean, there is that.
Well, the Bears have so many problems than just quarterback. They
No,
don't,
they
like, seriously, think about it. They don't freaking design the plays for the freaking team they have. All these coaches want to come in and just freaking put in their own system. It's like this. This is how we're going to run my shit. instead of building and tailoring your team around what you have. Like, instead of trying to be a power run freaking team out there, switch to a fucking zone blocking scheme. You got guys that are fast. Let them get outside. Stop trying to fucking run the middle all the time.
Right. Refs do fields dirty too, man. If we got more late hit calls, we'd be put in better position.
That's
But
that's what you get with a running quarterback, though. It's the whole freaking Shaq thing. Calls don't get called on people like that because of how often it happens.
I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes really only gets the late hit calls if he's in the pocket or if he's running towards out of bounds, and I don't care if it's a half a step at the line, at the sideline, he gets that call. And Paul Jones says, "Amen, Leonard." That's why Shane Walden, I think, is perfect for us. He'll build around field strength instead of Getsy wanted him to be Rodgers. Like, what the fuck? Well, it's funny you say that because look at what Lamar did. Lamar ran the ball 60% less than he has in any year of his career. And he also threw out of the pocket more by 70% of any time out of his career. And what happened?
They were the one seed and went to the play. But look at what he actually did, though. He didn't have 4,000 yards, like 3,600 yards. He still had almost, 700 rushing yards. He really didn't have a great year. He just looked good because that team is freaking good. And his offensive line is head and shoulders above what freaking the Bears are. And they played to his strengths. They worked and tried to develop him. I like Justin Fields personally. I think he's just in a shit situation.
I understand what you're saying, Bridgeport, but guess what? You want to know what gets your team the calls being called in the right direction? It's the same thing that cures every team: winning.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a winning quarterback, you get the calls. If you're playing on a losing team, you don't. It just happens that way. Look at the Lions. 2021 and 2022, they were one of the most penalized teams in the league. This year, we were top 10 in penalties against.
Mm-hmm.
Our QB coach said he threw everything at Hooker and he got everything right.
Yeah.
Fields got lit the fuck up this last season, and that Dink and Brand Allen and his crew let the call go, and it was right in front of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dude,
You're
here.
absolutely right.
JB, I got a perfect example about the system for a quarterback. Jared Goff came to Detroit. Anthony Lynn was your offensive coordinator. Had a freaking team and playbook designed around Tyrod Taylor, who he wanted as his quarterback. And what did Goff look like?
Crap.
Shit.
Great.
As soon as they fired him and Dan Campbell took over, they switched up the freaking plays. Taylor
And then
Jared Goff, and boom, look.
And Goff looked top 10 out of the 6 to 7 games he played.
Exactly. Talent. Sometimes it's just playing to your skill.
Right. It's scheming towards the strength of your players. That's what it is 100%. We all know this. I don't talk shit. I'm not being awful, but Getsy was a screen pass calling clown. I think there's going to be more screen passes thrown than screens broke in San Francisco after the Super Bowl this year for the Raiders. Detroit puts players in a position to succeed. Well, if we wouldn't have fired Anthony Lynn midway through the season, or at least stripped him of his play calling duties and let Dan Campbell take over and change the way that season looked, I would not agree with that statement, but we did. The thing our coaching staff has to help with, if you look, top 10 numbers on offense in first, second, and fourth quarter, 20th in scoring in the third quarter. Same players, same coaches. So it's not the level of talent that's the problem. It's coaching, correct?
Correct.
Defense, middle of the road, 17th and as high as 13th in the other three quarters, first, second, and fourth. Dead last in the fucking leading scoring defense against in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you everything you need to know on whether it's coaching or whether it's talent on the team. The talent on the team shows up the entire game. They just run the plays called.
They need to stop drinking at halftime. I think that's what it is.
Either that or they're doing too much blow.
No, they wouldn't come out as flat if they were doing too much blow.
The coaches.
Oh, the coaches. I was going to say players on blow, man. They come out like Lawrence Taylor. They'd be fucking it up.
I'm just playing. I'm just trying to make an excuse on why the coaches just shit the bed in the third quarter. I don't know what it is, but they need to fix that. Yes, Dan Campbell is Detroit, and Detroit is Dan Campbell. You want to know what made me love him more in that first presser than the whole kneecap biting thing? I just love that because it became a title for me. It was what he said about that draft. He goes, man, last year I was watching the second round. There were so many good players on the board. And I'm a Detroit fan, even though I'm coaching the Saints. I'm watching the draft and I'm loving it. And I watched them say Jelani Tavai's name when they drafted him. I may or may not have broken my tablet or computer screen. That was it. I was like, this is our guy. This is the guy Detroit has needed as a coach for years. He tells it like it is. I don't care about the meathead stuff. That was all. Notice he does a lot less of that meathead stuff ever since the first year.
Yes. Hey, JB.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo got suspended for 2 games this coming season for using a medication unapproved by the NFL.
Oh. So he didn't use Viagra. He actually used the low T.
Probably. I don't understand these people. They might as well just do some ecstasy. It'll do the same thing and be out of their system quicker.
Hey, you know what's funny is what one of his bonuses that he got, and it wasn't even from the team, it was from a certain place in Las Vegas. You know what the bonus is, right?
Yep.
Porn star Jimmy gets 1 free night a week at the Bunny Ranch. Lucky fucker. I would become a Raider for life.
Until you think about how many of your teammates ran through the same chick.
Don't care. That's what condoms are for. I'm not wrong.
I wouldn't want to feel that inadequate after the end of all that.
Jelani Tavai, I forgot all about him. LOL. Another joke by Fat Man and his clowns. And he also said, he goes, I hated the fact that Dan Campbell, that guy, man, the energy is there, the heart, the grit. He connects with them guys, and that's why I think we kept our coach. He's very similar, very connected with the guys. They know he honestly cares for them and wants the best and reminds them they are monsters. And that's just it. Dan Campbell's drafting guys that weren't the most talented with Brad Holmes. You know what I mean? They work together hand in hand to find the guys that fit this team. They go and they interview not just he gets free lap dances at the strip club too. Yes, he does. But Dan Campbell actually goes to those pro days with the scouts and talks to the teammates. Less about talking to the player they want to get. He talks to their teammates to get the opinion of how that guy fit as a team player. And notice almost every draft pick, if you go back and look from 2021 to 2022 and 2023, 95% of the players we've drafted have been team captains on the team they came from. Leaders of men is what they draft. Because they are leaders of men, and it gives you a like-minded mindset. Campbell and Holmes is playing chess while the rest are playing checkers when it comes to scouting. And Brent says, for sure, JB, they like captains. Guess what? Go look at Matthew Betts and what he was in college. He was a defensive captain on that team. Right. Paul Jones said they hardly use a stopwatch at the combine. He says they have teams of interviewers with clipboards. Yeah, they they literally care more about how the guy interviews with them than how they do on the field because that's the pajama Olympics. He goes, he cares more about the drills than the 40-yard time. He cares more about the explosiveness, the power that it shows if you got a good vertical leap and all that stuff. It's amazing what they do, and I am so looking forward to 13 days from now to start hearing the reports because every year he is such a great interview ever since he's been here. They interview Brad Holmes every year at the draft. They don't interview Dan Campbell as much. They're interviewing our GM. There's not a lot of GMs that get interviewed like that. I think it's a what? The guy from the Colts, one from the Seahawks. It used to be Chris's Chris Spielman's brother, Rick Spielman, but he's not even a scout anymore. So that's what you want to look at is how many GMs actually get interviewed and how many head coaches get interviewed. The more head coaches that get interviewed, guess what? That means they got a crappy GM. Because when it was Quinn Trasha here, yep, I think the field stuff is super important, but a player's character you can't really get during the combine. Absolutely. Um, the 29 was it 2019 when Greedy Williams quit on the draft and fell to the second round? Was that 2018? It was 2018, wasn't it? The Joe Burrow draft, Leonard.
Yes, I believe it was. Dude.
Okay. Greedy Williams comes out, runs that fantastic 40 as
No,
a corner.
2020 draft.
Was he 2020?
Burrow, Herbert, Tua, Hurts, 2020.
Greedy Williams. Greedy Williams.
Let me check.
Yeah, he's 26. He's been in the league a minute. Yep, 2019 draft. Okay. We had that fantastic 40 time. His 40 time was a 4.2 whatever. And I think they adjusted it. It ended up being a 4.31 after it was adjusted as the confirmed number. That's a fantastic 40 time for a corner, period. It's a fantastic 40 time for any position on the field, correct?
Yep. Look,
So he
40.
comes out on that first set of drills with the DBs there at the combine after all the measurables are done. Because, by the time they run the 40 time, they've already done the vertical leap, they've already done the long jump, they've already done this, that, and the other. He comes out and suffers muscle cramps in his side on the very first drill he ran across the field and was out of position. Okay, no problem. Take him off the field, let him get his electrolytes, send him back out in the afternoon with the safeties and the lower ranked DBs, right?
You would think.
He never returned to the field. He never did another drill. He skipped his pro day. You know what that showed me? He had no damn heart. And I was so glad. Everybody's like, "Oh, we need to pick him here. We need to pick him here." Like, no, don't draft that buster. And the fact he was picked in the second round in 46, which meant the Browns expected him to be a top flight corner, at least a CB2, right?
You
You
would
would
think.
think second round he'd be a CB2. You want to know what his career has been since 2019?
Dog shit.
99 total tackles. That's solo and assisted combined. 2 interceptions, 12 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. And that was on special teams, the forced fumble. It wasn't on actual defense. Now let's look up Amani Ora, who was drafted the same year, right? 5th round. Amani Ora.
Oh my.
Grant,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, 2019 pick 5. 173 total tackles, 19 pass deflections, 9 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries.
I hate Aaron Glenn for what he did to that man.
It's a little bit of everybody on that one. They let him down by letting Jeff Okuda play CB1, who never should have been a CB1. That's my opinion. I felt like Amani Oruwariye, the first 2 years with the should have earned that spot in 2022-23 year. And Branch was a day 2 robbery, 100%. But the biggest steal of the draft that we've had in all 3 years of drafting so far still is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Anybody that says anything different, I'm gonna say you're wrong. Ooh. So, Oruwariye is not a free agent. Guess who else got picked up this offseason? Because he was a free agent.
What team?
Jaguars.
I don't like that. They don't need corner there. They're stacked.
I know, but they run a lot of zone, and it can allow him to build his confidence back because he'll probably be at the slot.
Dude, like, I was happy as hell when the Giants signed him, and then I remembered Martindale, defensive coordinator. All we're going to do is run man anyway.
Right. If you guys would do a cover 3-0 blitz,
It's not his style.
drafting anything in the first round is scary. You got a 68% bust rate for every position in the NFL as a first round pick. 30%
in the first round is offensive tackle.
Yep, that's your safest bet. Next is defensive tackle, right? If I remember right, it's offensive tackle, defensive tackle. Then it's defensive end, offensive guard.
No.
Wide receiver. The wide receivers before that, right?
Tight ends before that.
Oh, tight ends. Forgot about that. I forgot about tight ends. But unless you're Martin Mayhew trying to draft Eric Ebum.
Oh my God, Ebum would have been fine if you just only threw to him.
Yeah, Andrew Luck proved it. He threw it to him 39 times and he got 13 touchdowns in the end zone.
I know.
It took volume. He's going to catch 1/3 of his passes. That's not good for a pass receiving tight end coming out of college. All I know is that I saw the draft profile, and we just had Brandon Pettigrew set a record for receptions and yards with the Detroit Lions the year before. And I'm looking at the draft thing, and I said, the only guy I don't want is Eric Ebron. He's not needed. It was a luxury pick we couldn't afford. Guess what? Eric Ebron's draft profile read exactly like Brandon Pettigrew's profile. Suspect hands, has to develop, has to learn how to block.
Pettigrew was a way better blocker than Ebum.
So, I would go D tackle or offensive guard.
Or Brock Bowers if he's there, just because. Why not?
God, you and your love affair of Brock Bowers. You guys can have him.
I love the tight end.
I know you do. We got a great tight end. We don't need another one.
Hey, 2 wouldn't hurt, man. Patriots shows it could work.
Yeah, well, why not pick up the wide receiver that could probably switch to tight end in the 5th round?
Because he's not Brock Bowers.
We already got better than Brock Bowers on the roster.
I don't know about all that. I love Sam Laporta. You know my fucking affinity for that.
In a room for you and Brock. From Bill Volker.
Ours is different, man. There's never been a higher rated tight end prospect coming out in history.
I don't care. I don't like him. I don't want him. I got who I want. You were the one that made me want Sam Laporta.
I know. I'm not saying replace Laporta. I'm saying run 2 tight ends. Shit. They can both block. You know how much more dynamic that offense can be? have both one on each side of that damn line. They could block or they could chip and go out. You could run screens all fucking day. Nobody would stop you.
Okay, I got a hypothetical for you guys, and I'm going to ask this right now. Reynolds' market value is $7.9 million. DPJ is a $2.6 million market value. And I'll give you a free agent that we could sign, and it would reunite him with his brother, who's even less. Equanimous St. Brown, $1.2 million. And what I love about Equanimous
His podcast.
St. Brown is his podcast, but the fact that I'm on Ra's brother, they would stop being so bitter with each other because they do agree on a lot of things when they talk about all things Detroit and Chicago. They actually agree with each other more than they disagree.
Mhm.
And he's a great downfield run blocker, just like DPJ, just like Josh Reynolds. So think about this. We could have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who blocks well downfield. DPJ that blocks well downfield. Equanimous St. Brown that blocks well downfield. And we all know what JMO does blocking downfield. Do you imagine how explosive our run game would become if we could have so much confidence in the run game then?
That's letting Josh Reynolds walk.
Yeah, letting Josh Reynolds walk.
Absolutely. I want to get rid of Josh Reynolds anyway, just in response to those drops. But
Right.
EPJ has more value because he does kick returns and punt returns too.
EQ would be our fifth option at wide receiver, and if he's on the field, we're running. Let's put it that way. He's fast as shit, but he has butter hands. He's taller and faster than St. Brown, or the St. Brown on the team. He can catch if he's wide open and not under contact. He is not a contested catch guy. He should be with his size and frame and his speed, but he's not.
Because he's a bitch that's afraid to get hit.
I'm just saying, if we got Jay, he'd be our 3. How much would ESB cost? $1.8 million. So you could have Jay and Equanimous St. Brown for less than you can re-sign Josh Reynolds. It'd be $2.3 million less to have both of them. And don't forget, Khalif Raymond's under contract this year, so he's coming back. So he would be another guy. You're not for it, really? And don't forget Khalif Raymond. I think ESB would be the 5th wide receiver on the team.
Probably. If you look at it, Raymond took Josh Reynolds' spot, and that was his position all season until he got hurt.
Right. If addressing wide receiver at all, we need an X. Our X will be JMO. And here's the thing. Goff is so comfortable with Josh Reynolds, he doesn't target JMO a lot. And it shows. It'll take away from the snaps where they target JMO. 100%.
I would sign Kenny Galladay before I brought back Josh Reynolds.
Wow.
Dude, that's how much I hate that man. Besides just the drops are fine. Don't smile. Don't go to the sideline and laugh, and don't say shit happens in the biggest game in Detroit Lion fucking history. Fuck you. I hope his wife's getting pounded by the mailman. And he walks in and she says, oops, shit happens.
Well, guys, these talking heads have been here for an hour and a half, and it's been a great show. I appreciate you very much. And again, our sponsors today, it's FTP Friday. Put the FTP in the chat. And also,
fuck the Packers.
Seeing how the Packers are 4th in the league in cap space, they're actually behind the Vikings. Imagine that. Much butter. I sent to you. Cry like bitch, you should.
I love that. Can you do it like Chewy?
Was that
I
good enough?
to sound that way.
Was that good enough of a Chewbacca for you?
Uh-huh.
Or is it fuck the Packers? There it is. In Wookiee.
Translate. That'd be great. And then have subtitles. Backers.
It's been a great show. I love talking football with you guys. And I enjoyed the flow today. It was very good. But there's my paying sponsor, Gossamer Negron, the best window tinner in Saginaw, as voted through the Chamber of Commerce, the Better Business Bureau. So that's not only customers, that's also the ones that do the work next to them. Check him out, 989-443-9240. Schedule your appointment. He also does auto detailing. Get your whip ready for the warm weather that's coming.
Warm weather? What are you talking about? We're getting another 9 to 12 inches drop tonight. Puxatawny fill my ass. Early spring, yeah, okay. Someone needs to find that groundhog's freaking hole, dig him up, and freaking make him a brand new one after throwing him in front of a bus.
And don't forget to tune in tonight, as I'm going to bring in a few Lions fans that can attend. I'm going to reach out to other ones because I do the Lions fan cave chat where we go over all the news from all week, talk about everything, give our opinions, piss people off. Because you know what? No matter whether it's your fan base or the other three, your opinion is going to be wrong to someone. The fact is, the First Amendment gives us the right to express our opinions in the way we want to. You don't like it? Move the fuck on.
Big facts.
I agree with what he's saying.
I'll have a great weekend, but I'll be on again at 9:30 with the Lions fan cave chat. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. FTP, mofos. Love everybody in the chat. Y'all were wonderful. Even the Chicago guy, Bryce Ward. Love you, man. Have a great day. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Have a good one, fellas.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.
Stay new to your bed.
Spade new to your bed.